Okay, one more. This is by popular demand. I had a very large conversation with someone in which we talked about several different things. Among those things we talked about is actually, how do you know when you're doing the right thing? This here is very basic. It says determine what is right, okay, instead of who is right. You can't go wrong with those kind of advices. When you really truly want to advise somebody in terms of right and wrong, I say to people, there's no such thing. There's only what works and what doesn't work. There's those things that work in your business, and then there's those things that just don't work. Now, fortunately for us, a lot of us here at GANOLIFE have already discovered what those things are that don't work. Unfortunately, for some people out there in the market, they're in different companies, they're doing all kinds of stuff that just doesn't work. Now, the true test to all of this is time. Whether something works for them immediately right now, but it's not going to work in the long run, that's the test of time. I mean, the time will let you know whether or not those things that were done by certain companies are things that work, because in time, you can see everything evolve. Now, there's those companies that are doing things that work all the time. Now, if you do what works, eventually, guess what? Your business works. So if you want to follow somebody, follow those people that do what works. Look at their proven success, their track record. Look to see who they are, what they've done, where they've been, where they've gone. Kind of get a test as to, okay, what does your track record look like? And then, as one of my really good friends named Robert Hollis says to me, you know what, you really want to find out how a leader is doing and who do you want to follow? Ask them, show me your check. Show me your check. Show me how much money you make, so that way I can be comfortable that I'm going to put my entire life, my family's future, and if possible, a lot of the families that follow me and their futures in your hands. Can you show me your check? Can I see what you make? That's a very good test for presently whether what they're doing works or not. Because if it doesn't work, just don't do it. Now, there's another test of what works and what doesn't work. And it's actually a pretty cool test. If what you're doing or what somebody does that you know is very icky, in other words, it feels like it's like, I shouldn't be doing that. Chances are you don't want to be doing that. In other words, if it makes you feel like, I can't do what that person says, in other words, it's not right or it's wrong or it's just not ethical, then, don't do it. That's a very, very good piece of advice for people that are just getting started in our business. Yesterday we talked, a lot about, how in your business, your attitude is one of those little things that goes a long way and makes a big difference. That's number one, I would say, along the way of training somebody, teaching them how to do network marketing. I would say the biggest one in the number 2 spot for me is this one. If you're going to get involved and do it right. In other words, do things that work. A very long time ago, I worked with someone that was a very, very cool friend of mine, a good mentor. This gentleman gave me a lot of advice. And among the things he said to me in the advice, there was 2 things that really rang in my ear. One day he looked at me and he said, David, he says, you keep complaining about stuff. He said, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? It really touched my heart when I had a leader of that caliber look me in the eye and ask me the question, says, David, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? Because in my constant complaining and arguing about how I felt things should go or what things should be looking like or how things should be done, in that constant complaining, I wasn't getting anywhere. I wasn't making any money. I was just satisfying my own ego as to basically, hey, I'm telling you this because I'm telling you this, and this is what I think should go on and happen around here. It wasn't until this gentleman looked at me and he said, David, do you want to be right or do you want to be rich? When I heard that, in my ears, I heard, David, how long are you going to be broke but right? Does that make sense? I mean, seriously, think about that one for a minute. How long do you want to be broke but right? How long do you want to be single but right? Like you really are contesting your mates you know, your wife or your spouse or your husband or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, whatever, and you're always continuously nagging because you got to be right. The question is, how long do you want to be single, or do you want to be right? You know, and we can go on and on and on. You know, how long do you want to go, you know, without anything, and then at the same time you're right? Because if you set aside the fact that you're right, you'll actually create a huge space for learning something new. Meaning to say, okay, I got an idea, I know what I'm thinking about, but let me put that aside. Let me set it aside. Let me just clear that space right now, and there's nothing there. And let me look at what is going on currently, presently, from a space of nothing. I know something, I know I got something in my mind, but let me just set it aside. Okay, and then let's just talk about what advice you want to give me. That's the second advice that I would give to anyone that's getting started in network marketing. You know, there was another one, and this one was actually very cool. One day, you know, I was very adamant about creating something that was kind of cuckoo. I just wanted to try something out. I wanted to go to a street corner and pass out flyers. And the gentleman just said, no, don't do that. That doesn't work. And I was like, I want to go pass out flyers. I want to go pass out flyers. Just don't do that. Unless you go with the purpose, and unless you go with the little booklet yourself that you're going to write people's names and numbers so you can call them back. Just passing out flyers for passing out flyers doesn't work, because people get them and they throw them away. You know, and I kept rebutting him about that. You know what he said to me? He said, David, what's bigger, your checkbook or your ego? Now that one hit me right here. That one went boom, straight into my heart. Because at that point in time, I was broke. I had no money. I didn't know where my next dollar was going to come from. When he said, what's bigger, your checkbook or your ego? In some people's cases, it was, what's bigger, your ego or the money you have in your wallet? If the money you have in your wallet is small, or you have nothing there, then shut up, pay attention, and do exactly what your leader is telling you. Because sometimes our ego is so big, we don't want to accept an idea. We don't want to listen to someone else. We don't want to do what works and what somebody has already tested and proven that would work. You know, these are just very simple, minor advices. You know, I want to hold to basically leaving you with that. And let's move forward. I'm going to continue another segment tomorrow, and I'm going to give you a little bit more of information, some pieces that are really going to be great for you to actually listen to. These two things that I got out of the way, though, are perfect. You know, your attitude is really important. And, you know, stop being right. It doesn't matter who's right. It just matters how much money can you make with what you're learning right now. So pay attention. Talk to the people that invited you to check out this video. Go to www.ganolifeusa.com. Go to JeseniaRobles.com and just kind of listen to us, or come to one of our meetings here at Milliken or out there in the Airport Drive, and come check out GANOLIFE. GANOLIFE is one of the best companies you'll ever work for. I guarantee it. Let me tell you, this is a new beginning. I am GANOLIFE. I'll talk to you soon in the future.